Hi, I'm Dwight McConnell, the Director of Compassion Link with Assembly of God World Missions International Ministries. And I just wanted to talk to you briefly today about the value of doing assessments. One of the things that we do here before we start any projects, before we make any commitments, is we do assessments. Let me just give you an example of that. A few years ago, we were working in an African country, and an organization that we relate to and connect with was going to raise a lot of money, and we're pretty determined that this particular area needed a feeding program. And but they asked us to do an assessment and to kind of get involved in that in the front end. And I think what they expected was that we would determine how big of a feeding program. But we got into the community. We had done a week of community health evangelism training, and at the end of that week, several of the people from the training event wanted to join us. We invited them and they joined us, and so we created teams of about 4 people that went to different parts of this community of about 30,000 people. And so we went to different parts of it, broke up into teams. One team evaluated, healthcare facilities, clinics, hospitals, things like that. One team was looking at the business, local business, and how people earned a living, things like that. One team, the team that I was on, was involved in doing like children's health assessment. We went to 2 elementary schools and a high school. And our goal was, obviously my team, our goal was to really look at the overall health of the children. And so we interviewed teachers and school leaders, and then actually were allowed to, under supervision, meet several of the children. And we did basic health assessment on them, kind of BMI type of stuff, body mass index and different things like that. And what we discovered, I'll get to the kind of the bottom line of it quickly. What we discovered was actually the children were fairly healthy, and there was an assumption that there was a big problem with malnutrition, and we only found among a couple of hundred children, we only actually found one child that was kind of malnourished. I expect that was from maybe having intestinal parasites or something like that that hadn't been dealt with, but really wasn't a big problem. But what we did discover in that community, our team that was going out and looking at the local business and the way folks there, so many of them made a living weaving silk and making clay pottery and some things like that. What we found was really interesting was there was a big gap between the local producers and the actual final product sales. And it was the guys in between that were picking up the product, hauling it to the markets, marking everything up dramatically. They were the ones that were making all the money on it, and then the people that were actually producing the goods were getting a very, very small percentage, just a few dollars for working 12 to 15-hour days and things like that. And so the assessment really highlighted all of that, and it began a process of creating a co-op in which the local producers would be more involved in benefiting from the final sales price of their products. And so, needless to say, the idea of doing a feeding program, it was discovered it wasn't necessary in that community. And there were other things that were more concerning. And so assessment was an incredibly important tool in making a determination in that community and heading us the right direction, and just helping to open the eyes of several of the folks and the local businessmen and producers that were there. So assessment we believe in. It's been incredibly valuable every time we have used it. It has always led us to discovering things that we didn't know. We come with assumptions, but when we do the assessment, it helps us discover things that we didn't know and things that we needed to know. So very, very important. Any project that we're working on, I would suggest it for a church plant. I suggest it for a new business startup. Anything that we can do, we should run as thorough of an assessment as we possibly can. So that's our suggestion and one of our core values in the way we operate. So I hope it's helpful to you. God bless.